snap to let people know that it's syncing? No?
Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that is not about podcasts. It's the bonus show for the Podcast Discovery Show. I'm Kirk.
I'm Zach.
And I'm guest appearing, Richie.
His second time guest appearing. That's how you know that we like him.
Or they couldn't find someone else.
No, we like him. Definitely not that. So, one thing I discovered this week, as Kirk mentioned, is Colonel Blood. And first of all, you can't make up a name that good if you wanted to. People would be upset if you named a character Colonel Blood because it sounds so fake. But it's not fake. It's a real guy. And his full name is Colonel Thomas Blood. He was born in 1618.
Something's not right.
Okay, so now,
check.
YouTube family, you get to experience
Live technical
difficulties.
Hold on, mine is like maxed out.
I switched the wrong way. Say something, Zach.
Check.
All right. You were too low.
Mic check, 1, 2,
Right.
3. Oh wow, you turned me down to like
Check.
negative
Hello?
18. You can't. Nobody can hear me. Come on, let's bring it back. I was
All right, now we're good.
all the way live. There we go. Now I'm in the negative 6s. That's
Now I know who's who. All right, let's start over.
All right. Here we
This
go.
is how
again.
podcast
a brand
works.
new intro.
Yeah, that's how it works. Well, actually, no, the intro was fine.
Oh yeah.
It just needs to be because you said I'm Zach.
Let me just represent that Brands and Empire shirt
All right.
for a second.
Here it is. Look at that. Look at that swag. Look at this swag. Brought to you by
Yeah,
Brands and
the
Empires.
man, the myth,
he's
the
making
legend.
us a brand and an empire right now.
Look at this. We're making our brand an empire.
For the few of you who are in here, these are all done on the white toner laser transfer. I did them very recently. Those were done. Those are like my third or fourth transfers that I did, and then I did this one today before I showed up at the show. So if you're curious, it looks pretty good. It's got some stretchability to it, which I'm pretty pleased with, and we'll find out about washability in the future.
Yeah, and I'm not as sophisticated as Richie, but like it feels not like a direct-to-garment like cheap thing. It feels good. It feels great. And it looks great too.
We'll see if he says that after about 5 washes.
Yeah, that's the real question, right?
I
Honestly,
only charge him $90 a piece for these.
I could go for a little like vintage look, a little bit of slight fading.
Yeah, if we threw some distressing on there, we could probably make it, a thing. And then as it washes, it would continue to be nice. But
The good thing is we picked our hoodies for this, because you don't wash a hoodie as much as you wash like a t-shirt.
don't you?
I don't, because I'm wearing a t-shirt under my hoodie most of the time, so I'm not gonna like sweat through my hoodie.
Yeah, like if you wanted to make a fake North Face jacket, you just buy a cheap jacket, throw the logo on there. You're only going to wash it three or four times.
Just screen print North Face on the cheapest jacket you can get.
I had an employee that, no joke, we shut the doors at like 5, and I come back there an hour later, and he was making fake Nike shirts on our heat transfer machine, and it wasn't even like a good swoosh with the Nike font. It was like this gothic Nike font, like just old school Nike. I'm thinking, Miguel, what do you do? Oh, well, the guy's Miguel, what are you doing?
Redacted.
We can delete that from the live show.
I'm going to just go to Walmart and buy the cheapest polo I can and just print Gucci on it. And see,
It was like
just see how people react to that. Just in general, they're like, that seems not right.
Supreme,
Yeah, Supreme. That would be the... So,
because you're a YouTube man,
a
you're a YouTube
man.
guy, there's this thing that's going off on, I'm a Disney guy, so I follow like Disney Twitter, and there's one of the most famous Disney YouTubers.
Disney food blog?
Yeah.
My wife's all
No,
over
it's not
this.
Disney food blog.
Oh.
His name's Tim Tracker. He's very popular.
Okay.
Anyway, people were blasting him because his income is YouTube, but he has like a $1,500 sweater from Disney. It's like a Gucci Disney sweater, and people.
I didn't even know they did crossovers like that.
And it's like.
Why would they blast him for being a hype beast? Like I'm not into that, but streetwear is incredibly expensive.
They're like, you got so much money you're spending on an expensive sweater, and I'm like, dude.
Is that what everybody who hates on clothes sounds like?
Apparently,
They got like sweaters, bag of marbles in their mouth.
it's just I don't know. I mean, like, let the guy spend the money on what he wants to.
You know what? If that guy has that much money left over after taxes, just more power to him. He's clearly not having to pay for his own hotels. You know.
I mean, honestly, if you start wearing sweaters like that, eventually they start giving you those sweaters.
I think this is my dream. My dream is to be
Just to have a $1,500 Gucci Disney sweater.
no.
Oh no.
It's to have like where I could make money going to Disney. I mean, isn't that everyone's dream?
I mean, that's like.
That's awesome. I love Disney.
Yeah, I
though.
mean-
I guess it's not your dream. It's my dream.
So, well, I mean, I saw a Casey Neistat video the other day, and I mean,
I don't know
I
who
put it
that
up. He has like 10 million
Really-
subscribers on
really famous
YouTube. He's
YouTuber.
very famous. So he was flying Arab Emirates and coming back from the Middle East, and because they saw that he had done a first class video from I don't even know some other airliner or whatever, they upgraded him from business to first class. So they knew that he was going to make a video about it, and of course he did. And he's like sitting in his like personal cabin that turns into a bed.
Sounds
They
awesome.
scheduled a shower in the air. It was just it was stupid.
Yeah, scheduled shower.
$22,000 for a 14-hour flight. It was absolutely nuts.
What?
Yes, enough to pay rent for most people easily for a year and a half for a 14-hour flight.
That is not a type of money that I understand.
It's in a whole new level. Like most
Yeah.
people you can't wrap your mind around that. Or a $75,000 a night hotel. I'm thinking like that's a home. That's a rental property. You know, for most people.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. But you know, hey, if you can become a YouTuber and have opportunities like that just thrown at you,
I mean, can't knock the hustle, right?
it won't happen in the shirt niche. There's only about 5,000 people in it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a low percentage of anybody is going to hit that level.
I would say so.
What can you do? Well, YouTube people, that's an exclusive for you because we have not recorded anything. So thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Russell said he's been to the UAE. That's interesting. I don't know. I wouldn't take my family to the Middle East. Like, there's no way I would risk any of that backlash.
UAE's a little different. It's very
Westernized, right?
yeah. Well, to some extent, but it's very like luxury.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like it would be an amazing trip. Okay.
So we actually sound good now. We did a sound check before, and I'm the one that messed everything up. So
Nobody was
you
paying
can-
attention.
Kirk
You
was
can blame
just
me.
yeah, he was
Not
just
at all.
twisting. He was just twisting knobs. And,
That's why I have the headset on. Because with the podcast, we got to focus on audio because that's all you get. So we got to make sure it's good.
I gotta make sure I keep an eye on the chat too. All of us do.
Yeah, no, that's why
Make
I
sure
like it being up there.
share the love with you
It's
guys.
dope.
I cannot see that because my eyes are bad. So you guys have to keep up with it for
Oh.
me.
Okay.
I don't have my contacts in, but I
All
can.
right,
I
so
can
let's
still
get
see it.
this going.
All right, let's go.
Let's see. 8 minutes?
8 minutes of
Garbage. No, I'm just kidding.
wow.
Garbage.
Wow.
Terrible.
It's not garbage.
It's not gonna land.
It's just something that we can't use.
It's just something we have to throw away.
okay. All right.
Exactly. Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that is not about podcasts. It's about everything else that we discovered this week. I'm Kirk.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Richie.
Back for the second time. A great guest co-host. Guys, I discovered something amazing this week.
What did you discover, Zach?
I discovered a man named Colonel Blood. And yeah, you might think
Was he a vampire?
you would think that, and maybe because how can you really tell? I feel like the best vampires you'd never know.
I mean, if you see them during the day, then you're probably not a vampire. If you see
Wait,
them
is
in a
that the
mirror,
yeah,
then
I mean, that
probably
seems
not
fair.
a vampire.
So like, if you ever see someone during the day, it's not a vampire.
Right, because they can't, right? Isn't that a thing?
I mean, it seems like
Sunlight, right?
True Blood
I
messed
mean,
with that a little bit, right?
I thought that
I've
I thought
never
that
watched
they just
True Blood.
sparkle, right? Like after.
Oh, so we're going Twilight. Yeah, they
it-
sparkle it up.
It depends, right?
So if you see somebody really sparkly, that could also be a vampire. But anyways,
I mean, well,
I guess I'm
nowadays
the
you
only
really don't
one-
know.
I guess I'm the only one that's a true vampire guy that knows the
Hold on. Maybe
Gosh, come on.
True vampire
if they
guy.
hit the light and they just explode, that's one thing. But nowadays, if you saw a guy that's walking down the street with long nails, long hair, fabulous vintage clothing, and he's sparkling, do you really think he's a vampire?
So we're
Like,
talking
your
about
first
vampire
reaction?
technology is involved.
I mean, it fits right in California.
Yeah, it does. You know, you can.
It's like I don't die.
people
I
would pay
just
for
You
that.
blend in a different
I
way.
just-
It's culturally
I
relevant now.
sparkle.
People would pay for that. They would.
And maybe in Vegas.
Yeah.
You could have a whole show about that.
Yeah, I think they have those shows already, and you must be 18 to enter.
There you go. There you go. Pay to play. So
So-
tell us about Thomas Blood.
So Colonel Thomas Blood, and apparently self-styled colonel. It was something that and that is a bold strategy right there. Just to be like, just call me colonel. It's pretty intense. But he was a British gentleman. He was born to a well-off family. He went and fought in multiple conflicts, and because he was born in 1618, and so he was involved in some of these early kind of War of the Roses type conflicts, where there was different houses that had power, and they would fight and things. And he ended up getting in some heat because he ended up changing sides, and he started flipping on people. But here's where this gets interesting. His plot that he is famous for is stealing the crown jewels. And I'd always heard the crown jewels, but never put together what it was. So
okay.
I looked up what this was. Do you guys know what the crown jewels are?
I do not know what
Testicles.
the crown jewels are. You had to go there.
No, not that. The crown jewels are literally all of the monarchy's fancy stuff for like 800 years.
All the
So
fancy
we're not
stuff?
talking about
I'm talking
crowns
about,
and scepters. We're
yes,
talking about
no,
everything.
We're talking about crowns and scepters, but we're talking about 35 pieces of secular plate.
What is secular plate?
I don't even. Who knows? It's 140 objects.
It's not Christian
Yeah,
plate.
it's Church of England plate.
not
16
even gonna explore
trumpets, 13 maces, 7 crowns. 7 sovereign crowns, 6 consort crowns, 6 swords, 5 scepters, 5 robes, 3 rings, 3 pieces of baptismal plate. Okay, that sounds awesome. Like, so is the person baptizing wearing the plate, or is the person being baptized? I don't know, but still awesome.
Maybe it's a collection plate.
Yeah, I'm not assuming that it's like plate of armor
well
for
then-
an infant.
Well,
Maybe
okay.
it
First
is.
of all, then you guys aren't
That's-
dreaming big enough
sounds
because that sounds
awesome.
amazing. It's like we just put them in like little white dresses, but back then they put them in baptismal plate.
Maybe if you're part of the crown.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's the monarchy. Amulets, walking sticks, one spoon. So that's nice.
One
there
spoon.
There was a spoon.
That was a very special
I'm
spoon.
thinking so. Yeah.
No, but we're talking about 140
The
different
royal,
objects.
the royal cooking spoon.
Yeah, 140 different objects,
That's
and
a lot of objects.
and it just says stones. 23,000
Wait, what?
stones, as in like precious stones.
They were like the De Beers.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm
I
thinking
looked-
of rocks.
Yeah, it was just they
Think
just
of
found
a bag
random
of rocks.
You're not thinking royal enough.
No,
yeah.
Apparently.
okay, and so
Apparently.
then I see this many things, 800 years old, all priceless things. How much is it worth? Literally priceless. They're not insured. They have never been appraised. They're estimated to be worth $4 billion.
Wait, what? Say that again.
$4 billion.
Did you say with a B?
Yeah. And so this guy's plot,
People would pay more than that. I'm sure.
I'm sure
to,
it's
to liquidate the royal.
but it's not even insured. So I don't know if that's because they don't want appraisal or
Because they don't want to pay 3% of the value of it.
yeah. I
every
mean,
year.
there's that. Especially if it's
Yeah.
$4 billion.
No.
That's no.
That would
no,
bankrupt
thank
the
you.
UK
Yeah.
after Brexit.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, thank you on that. So, Colonel Blood was he would start to hang out with people that were rich and try and finagle things. He'd try and figure out what he could get out of
He
it.
was Ocean's leveling this thing.
A leveling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that.
Yep, that's what I said.
So
I
after
didn't mean to highlight that. I
Yeah.
apologize.
he was in some heat before, he ran away and he hid with his countrymen in the woods, and that was able to save him for a while. Because I mean, this is 1600s. It was. I mean, the option is, where is he? Did you see him go anywhere? And then no. Okay, it's like, all right, he
I
escaped.
mean, it's the 1600s. You know they would have tested for DNA, swabbed for fingerprints.
Find my
Somebody
phone.
got yeah.
Check the surveillance drones,
Easily,
all of
yeah.
everything they could have done.
Right. The NSA had footage of it.
So after this, he's like, you know what? We need to go bigger. We need to go home. And so Colonel Blood decides to steal the crown jewels. And at the time, how you could visit the crown jewels, because it's always kept in, I think it's called the Tower of London. And so you could go there, and he dressed up and he brought someone with him, and they were like a couple. They were being innocuous and everything, like, we want to see it. You would apparently just pay somebody and they'd let you see the crown jewels. And he did that, and then his fake wife acted like she was sick. And so she went and stayed at, there was like a guest quarters there. And so she faked
They just
sick.
let her stay in guest
Well,
quarters?
yeah, I mean, they were like, here, you're sick. And so they like took her in, they like took care of her, and then they went home. You know, they both just left. This was a long con. So he did that. They left. And then he came back and he just brought the wife who helped take care of his fake wife some gloves. It's like, oh, thank you. Here's some white gloves. I mean, it really dates the story because like "Oh, thank you for your help. Here's some white gloves. I hope you enjoy that." But he brought her some white gloves, and he started to befriend these people. And then he was able to convince them to let him, his fake wife, and his fake nephew go see the crown jewels.
Again.
Yes. Well, not like, I think like more like
I want to become a pass holder, please.
Yeah, it's
of the crown jewels.
We've already seen Shakespeare 4 times this year.
I'm so bored. And so basically he gets them to show it to him.
Uh-huh.
And he goes in there, and then they make their move. Apparently he took a mallet and like mashed a crown down into flat. And they were all just sticking crown jewels in their clothes. Like he's just like...
I feel like that would hurt the resale value.
Right.
Like if it was on the Antiques Roadshow,
Yeah.
had you not
I don't
smashed
think
this crown flat.
Maybe his point wasn't to resell it. It was just like, I got it all.
I'm not
I got
I'm
done
not
all
convinced.
of it. I got all of it.
Well, I'm not convinced you're right, because does that make it part of the story? If you have a flat crown jewels
400
crown,
years later, yes,
Yeah.
it's great provenance. But at the time, you'd be like, this used to be the crown.
and you mashed it into a jeweled pancake.
It doesn't hold water. It doesn't sit on your head right.
So, okay, he did that. The other people are like, they described it as like just sticking scepters down their pants and like sticking the crown in their robes. And they're all just grabbing stuff and just sticking it in their clothes. Because it's him, his fake wife, and his fake nephew.
It sounded legit until they were just like shoving stuff in their like cargo shorts.
Basically, yeah, they were all wearing cargo shorts.
I mean, this is all hearsay. So, I mean, we don't know.
Well, I mean, they were caught. So they get...
Is it because they were jingling or because they had 500 pounds of
because they
gold?
dropped
Jangle,
stuff.
jangle, jangle.
It's because, okay, so they
Run
away and they get outside and like, I just
And a
imagine...
flat crown just
I imagine
falls out of
this
this
is
dude's
like
knickers.
plump, and he just like looks down, he's like, and the guards are like, and
Cheerio.
I think they shot him. I think
They didn't shoot him.
no, they attacked him.
It's the 1600s. They didn't have guns.
They pulled out their M4s
No, they shot him with a bow and arrow.
with a bow and arrow.
Slingshot. I don't know. They got him.
They threw a rock at him.
And so apparently they're
Is
not.
this a Wikipedia article?
It is. It is. And so,
Somebody's been editing without
Here's the thing.
sources.
Wikipedia is great, but it's really hard to get good discoveries out of it because it's like it's not a very good, well-written story. You just have all these random facts.
Yeah, I had to just read it, and I'm comprising the story. And it's slightly modified because, yeah, there's drones and cargo shorts and guns. But like,
That was all true, though.
yeah.
But that's not the part I'm making up. No, but he got caught, and that is a serious crime to try and steal that. Even right now, and I'm sure it's much more well protected.
I feel like
now.
you're kind of
No.
downplaying the importance of it. Was kind of a serious crime, you know? No, they
Okay,
they
first
hung
of
him.
all-
They draw and quartered him.
They tried to shoot him with a musket.
Oh.
Like, he was shot.
Oh, they did have.
Yeah, they had guns, you liars.
He had a gang. We
Yeah.
skipped over the entire part
They
where he had
missed
gang
once,
members.
and they took 3 minutes refilling.
No, his
Hold still.
yeah, no, I mean, they had one shot, one opportunity.
Eminem was there.
Yeah. And then they caught him. So they grabbed him, and they basically took him to jail, and he would refuse to testify or like to talk to anybody unless it was the king. That, I mean, once again, bold strategy. This guy's a crazy guy. And he's like, I will not answer to anybody
I've
except
seen
for
this.
the king.
I've seen this on movies.
And so he goes to the king, and the king actually pardons him because
He was a self-proclaimed colonel, after all.
yes, he was like there was something to it.
My name's Colonel Sanders.
I
Okay,
was going to
so-
reference that.
So King Charles asked him, "What if I should give you your life?" And here's what Colonel Blood said: "I would endeavor to deserve it, sire." You know, he's like, "I'm gonna be better," and he was apparently constantly talking trash and stuff too. So there was some element of they think that this king particularly just liked him. Like he thought he was like, "Oh, this rascal trying to steal the crown jewels."
Oh, you slap on the wrist, yeah.
And so I don't know. He just liked it, and this king just liked him being ridiculous. And so they not only pardoned him, but they, I believe, gave him land. They're like, you're...
Prove. Hold on. I need to see this in the Wikipedia
Okay,
sources.
hold on one second.
Source 72A.
This is going to get cut from the podcast, but everybody can watch me read.
It's like a drum roll.
This is where I dip out for a second.
See, but we're live still.
Blood was not only pardoned, but also given land in Ireland.
Excuse me. Try that again.
Blood was not only pardoned, but also giving land in Ireland worth $500 a year.
In the 1600s, that was probably
That's
pretty significant, right?
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, I mean,
So, but to be given anything after attempting to rob the monarchy is pretty good.
that is pretty good. I mean, my only knowledge of British wealth was from Pride and Prejudice after having seen those movies several times.
Sure.
And Mr. Darcy was worth $20,000 a year in the 1800s, which was significant. So $500 a year in the 1600s, that had to be
Yeah.
a living wage.
Yeah, it's probably pretty good.
Probably enough to buy like part of a crown.
So, the ending of Blood is not as happy or funny, but like it also is kind of just him being him. So the guy that he was working, like one of the dukes that he was working with for a long time, he apparently insulted him. The duke did not enjoy that and sued him, and he was convicted and thrown in jail. And he was granted bail, and he never paid the damages because it was a lot. You know, okay, he got land that was €500. He was sued for €10,000. So it was
Pounds.
or
Euros?
is
Pounds.
that? I think that's probably pounds at that time, not
Yeah.
euro. Definitely not euro.
Definitely before.
But he was released from prison, and he died. But people thought that he was. Well, it's at least
So wait, he died in a place called Bowling Alley?
Bowling Alley, Westminster.
That's the real story here. I didn't know there was a bowling alley in
Yeah,
Westminster.
an actual bowling alley.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's where everybody strikes out.
Because essentially, after all of his shenanigans, it's a rumor that they exhumed his body because they thought this might have been another shenanigan, that
he
he
had a
faked
crown
his
up
own
there.
death,
Oh.
and that he's fine. He's just somewhere hiding. But that is the story of fake Colonel Thomas Blood.
Wow.
That's nuts.
That's hard to top.
So, I have a question. Have you guys watched? Well, I know Zach has. Have you guys watched the movie Parasite, or have you even heard of it?
No and no.
I have.
So, Zach, why don't you help me explain to Richie what the movie is? Because it's kind of hard to even explain what it is. It's a Korean movie.
A Korean movie? Is
Yeah.
it like a scary movie?
That's what's typical. What would you call it?
I would
A
call
drama?
it a drama. I mean, it goes. There's elements. Are you hearing the signal?
The buzzy signal?
Woo. I don't know where it came from.
Probably my phone because I was accessing a website.
Yep.
Huh?
You just
There you
moved
go.
it closer and it got worse.
Is it bad now? Right this second?
Mm-mm.
Gone? Disappeared?
That is weird.
Is it there again?
No.
No? Okay.
More
Nope,
technical
yeah, it is.
difficulties.
It is.
We're just living our best life here.
Yeah. Take it down.
That bad, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just put it over here.
Your phone is so strong. So strong of a phone.
Strongest phone.
Signal level over 9,000. You want to look at the chat real quick and we'll cut that out?
Yeah,
and we'll
sure.
Get back
Yeah.
on track.
What we got?
All right, so looking at the chat here, Douglas Lewitt. Let's scroll back up. Like,
Yes. So we were looking at the.
Yeah, I was reading Wikipedia.
so yeah, while we were alt tabbed, we couldn't see any of this, but we're gonna go back in the chat
Right,
here.
here's
This will
the-
not end up in the final podcast that goes live, but I just wanted to represent and bring love to the guys that are out there. Douglas Lewitt. I like the podcast shirts though; they look good. Yes, they do.
Yes, they
I
did.
really do.
Gentlemen.
I really do like the podcast.
Thanks to the neighborhood print shop.
And Brands and Empires.
Both.
That's my public name, but yes, right there.
Right there.
All right, Zach,
Yeah,
you
and
wanna lead us
they're
in?
going to be available. Twilight Vamp? Yeah, he's a Twilight Vamp. Yeah, Richie was on that for sure. Colonel Blood.
These freaking armrests, man. It just sounds like a fart every time.
I need to lower mine, actually. It reminded me.
Mine are like in Douglas Lewitt, 20-year retired Army combat vet. Thank you for your service,
Yeah,
sir.
it's awesome.
For real.
Russell said balls.
Balls. I concur.
I love it. Owner of Own loved your Brexit joke.
I appreciate that. What does he say though? They'll start over in another 8 minutes. Ouch.
Dang.
Yeah, it's fair.
Thank you, Owner of Own.
It's fair though. That there is Stockholm Syndrome on steroids. He's not wrong. Gotta make it tinkle. Are you talking about Kirk or you?
Probably because he ran out.
Yeah, I
Either
did.
way.
I did run out.
All right, let's see. I see what you did there. Yep, up, popping, left. I don't know what happened in the last 20 messages, guys. It's kind of gone downhill.
Dang it! I'm never going to the bathroom again.
Richie is dyslexic. Yep, you caught me. Yeah, I totally am. I get letters out of place all the time. Luckily, when I'm controlling the edit and it's not live, I can get away with it, no problem, because I script it. And
I mean, the podcast will sound great. Don't even worry about it.
all right.
This video,
Y'all will edit me right out of it.
beauty
Be
of
like, and our
podcast.
guest star.
The beauty of podcasts is you just take whatever you don't want to know.
Yeah, and since it's
Well,
not
I guess YouTube as well, but it's a little bit even easier on podcasts.
absolutely, because with YouTube there's jump cuts, so you're like all over the map.
It's funny because when we listen to podcasts now, having edited for a long time, many hours, we realize where the cuts are. But as novice listeners, you don't even hear it. You really don't.
No.
And like that's your goal when you're editing is like, I want this to sound like there was not things said between here and here. Someone didn't go poop between here and here.
Like you're cutting out like a breath and like mouth noises and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, all that. Absolutely.
It's
Y'all don't get that granular with it, do you?
not always, but sometimes it sounds choppy if you don't.
Well, no,
I mean-
early on, you kind of have to get fairly granular on like ums and likes. Because I think naturally your brain wants to fill in the like
I always called it your brain buffering.
the
And when that's
empty
happening, you
space.
say, like,
Oh, my
What we
bad.
got going on? I can't see.
Douglas, leave it. Oh, my bad. See, okay, so this is like 8-point font, and I'm reading it from 4 feet away
Let's see if
without
I
my
can-
contacts in, so I didn't even
See,
see
you
to
can't read
leave
it
it.
either.
Why are you on my case about this? Come on, guys.
I was
He was referencing the pronunciation of his name, so I just caught that. Well, how do you pronounce it? Phonetically spell it for me. Is it leave it? Douglas, leave it?
Levitt.
Levitt. Did I say it leave it before?
yeah, many times.
Right now, but when I was first
Oh,
reading
I
it,
don't know.
I felt like I said Douglas Levitt. What did he say? My gym teacher had the same last name without the A. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I'm out of my element here.
He's just letting you know. Now we know.
Well, now we
Douglas
know.
Levitt. We know this now. He told us in chat.
So, wait, is it? Tell us about the parasite and the
Okay, so we're gonna start that one over because I don't know.
subtitles.
So have you guys heard of the movie Parasite?
No.
What about you, Zach?
Yes, I've seen Parasite.
I knew you have because the only reason I knew about it was because of our Slack. I saw you and your brothers all movie gurus talking about, oh yeah, Parasite was so amazing and stuff. So
That sounds like a movie guru thing to say right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yes.
I like how I get the pretentious voice because I said a movie was good.
You've probably never heard of it.
Oh, it's a good movie, so you don't know anything about it.
So I went and I found a way to watch it, and immediately I'm like, oh, of course, it's got subtitles. Of course, these pretentious guys picked
Michael
the
Bay doesn't
subtitled
put
movie.
subtitles in.
But the movie was amazing. It was I don't even know where to classify it. It's like a mix between a drama and a horror and a like suspense.
Yeah,
A
I would definitely
suspense
say
thriller.
like family drama suspense was probably how I'd group that.
But it was so good. But more than anything, I think that I realized that because of my low attention span and always having to do other things while watching movies or TV nowadays, that if I find a movie that I have to read the subtitles, I pay so much more attention to it. I can appreciate it so much more.
I just like how you're acting like this is an option. It's in Korean.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a Korean movie, so I
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, I
Unless
guess.
you speak
I guess
Korean.
I buried the lead. So it's a Korean movie, and so you have, if you want to watch it in English and you don't speak Korean, you have to watch it in subtitles. And so I hadn't watched a movie in subtitles in a very long time. There's a reason that I don't watch most anime, and it's because I'm usually playing video games at the same time.
Like that, all that reading. I'm trying to watch a movie here.
So here's the thing: I like anime, but I don't want to read. If I want to read, I want to read a book.
With your ears.
No, I read books with my eyes too. This is a.
I'm not adding to this because I don't want to be mean. Like, you know what I mean? Like, We're not on that level as a guest star.
You're good. It's
This
not-
is an inside joke
Yeah, we've
because
messed with them.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks,
Uh-huh.
but I also read as well. I can read. It
I
takes a li-
can read.
He has to specify.
I has reading level.
Yeah.
It takes a little longer, but
My head hurts a little worse after. I don't.
okay. So my issue is I read right before I go to sleep every night. So the problem is I read like 3 pages that I conk out. So if I try
Sure.
to read a book in the middle of the day, then I want to take a nap immediately. I've kind of Pavlovian taught myself to go to sleep after reading.
That's a good system.
But Richie, if you haven't watched this movie yet, you really should. It's intense. It's intense.
Yeah.
You just called it a drama, not a horror, not a suspense, a drama, but it's an intense drama.
It's
It is
both.
intense. That's the thing.
Is
It's
there,
like
like-
halfway through the movie, you're like, is this a horror movie? But it's not. But
it
yet it kind of is. It's very
I'm more confused than I am scared.
intriguing.
Yeah, I think it almost says something for the movie that it's hard to exactly classify it. It's got a lot of elements of a lot of things.
Yeah,
But
because
it's-
I watched it in 2 settings, and it was funny because Zach had seen the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm at this point. And he's like, oh, it gets better. It gets crazier, or like it gets interesting, Kirk. And so I watched the rest. I'm like, the next day I came to work. I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like
'Cause
you
it
have to
took a
watch this
turn.
movie to understand what's.
yeah, no, and
what's going on
He's
here?
avoiding the spoilers here because
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. It is a really good
I appreciate
movie.
that. I appreciate
everybody
It's a
should
good
watch the movie. It won. I think it won Palme d'Or at Cannes. So like the main award at Cannes, I think Parasite won.
that. I didn't know what Cannes was or what Palme d'Or was.
Cannes is a film festival,
Okay.
and it's one of the
Is it
largest
spelled
ones.
Cannes?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I know what it is. I just thought it was Canis.
Yeah, I believe
Because
it's
I've never-
Cannes. We'll
because I've
find
never
out.
seen it.
We'll find out.
You're probably
I'll
correct.
get yelled at if not.
Oh,
But
damn.
no, they're also nominated for Academy Awards and everything like that. They're
Okay,
gonna.
yeah.
It's a very well crafted movie as well, and the script is
It's so
wild.
good.
Acting's
It's
great.
interesting.
It's
It's
a really really great movie.
I saw The Grudge once.
How was it?
It was
Was there
It
subtitles?
was-
moderately scary.
It was a movie.
It was a movie, yeah. The Grudge 2 and 3 just ruined everything for me, though.
Didn't they just reboot
didn't
The
watch
Grudge?
those.
They did. I haven't seen the new one.
They rebooted it?
Yeah.
But 2 and 3, they had like
That's the thing.
white people doing the thing, and it killed it. Because you know how it is? Like, you see a movie the first time, and it's unique, and it's special, and it's fresh. And then you see the director take it from a different angle, and you're like, oh, I don't like what was in his head, and I realized that it cheapens the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, you can cut this out too. I saw you write that down. Yeah,
I didn't, but now I will.
no. yeah.
As soon as you say, "Let's cut it," you gotta cut it.
All right, so hold on. Lewitt, Levitt.
Dang
Okay.
it.
Are we gonna do this? Is this happening right now?
No, you said Lewitt.
I said Levitt. No, I said Lewitt. I don't know why. Whatever. Douglas is in the house. We're gonna leave it at that. We got 4 of y'all in here hanging out with us. That
Captain D
fantastic.
is in the house.
I don't know if he was a captain, and if he wasn't,
He's
would he
a
take
captain
offense to
now.
that?
And Captain D, isn't that like a seafood place?
Captain D's, yeah. And Captain Mike's? No.
It's
What was
Captain
okay? It was
Oh, Long John Silver's.
yeah, but I don't think that's a
Long
rank.
John D.
Long John. All right.
No,
what was,
you can't
what was
say
next?
that.
What was
you can't
next?
say that.
I think it's you. It's you, Richie.
All right. I was going to tell y'all about Einstein, but I'm going to go past the Einstein one because I thought
He's pulling an audible.
decimation is a more interesting one to talk about. So this week, if we're talking about things I learned this week, I learned that decimation actually came from the Roman military practice of if there was deserters or cowardice or anything that would require discipline for one of their, I don't know, their military units, they would decimate that unit.
So, like the word decimation?
The word decimate quite literally means they would take one man out of every 10 and they would kill them. And decimate, the source of that is deci or tenth. And they took a tenth of the men and they would kill them as punishment for cowardice or retreating in battle or fleeing or whatever it is. and that's where that came from. And I
No
guess that
clue.
was considered proper punishment for whatever that was. And the other men who got to live then went on, I guess, bearing the burden of what they did.
That is crazy. So it was random?
It was random. Random
Ooh.
selection of 1 out of every 10. Can you imagine?
That's that whole, like, there's so much to this, because, like, when you're in the military, you're trying to, protect your brothers
Yeah,
in arms
camaraderie.
and stuff like that. And if you're the dude that, ran off, and someone else is going to have to pay, some random, very, brave comrade is going to have to pay for your cowardice, that's something to live with. I mean, I don't know. That's nuts.
I do think that would probably be effective at scaring you into line.
It sounds horrible, but
That you'll lose
at the same time, it
random
sounds
10%.
very effective.
No, I had no idea that it was like a literal word.
I didn't either. I really
Me
didn't.
either. Yeah,
Where it
a
would
Latin origin
terminate
word.
a tenth, essentially, just combined. That's really interesting.
My only experience with decimation is after eating, like bean burritos with habanero peppers.
Yeah.
like that's really
Decimated
it.
that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. 8-10 hours later, you get decimated.
Yeah,
but
at least
I had no idea that it was this.
At least
serious.
10% of your soul is gone at that point. It's just it decimates you.
It does.
Something's gone.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
So that's what I learned.
I discovered something that everyone can enjoy, and it is the Wikipedia cookbook. I did not realize this existed, and it's limited on what's available in some ways, but in some ways it's not. They have just compiled everything they can into a Wikipedia cookbook. So any recipe that's randomly on Wikipedia is in a separate URL of Wikipedia.
I had no clue.
And I'm not talking about a couple things. I'm talking, it has to be thousands.
This is food we're talking about.
Yeah,
It's not the
yeah.
anarchist cookbook on
No,
Wikipedia. It's
no,
food.
I mean,
It's not
that-
recipes to build, like,
pipe bombs usually.
I mean, I'm assuming Anarchist Cookbook is probably, no, they might not actually have any text from it on there. I think that book is one of the, like, we don't really want that around.
I mean, it's all
books.
over the pirate site.
Yeah, it's all over the internet, but no, I don't think Wikipedia will have it, like, text-based.
PDS is now flagged. Sorry, guys.
We're cutting that. We don't like that. We don't like that book. We don't like that book. No, but it's essentially they just compiled a ridiculous amount of recipes, and it's not just American either. So you can go on there and you can pick a category. So you can say meat-based dishes or vegan-based dishes or desserts, or pick a different culture, or it really, there's a lot of filtering that you can do.
So it's like all recipes. If all recipes
Didn't
was
believe in HTML.
yeah, and if it was assembled by a bunch of scholars that
Yeah.
really don't know how to cook.
Yeah, and I mean, it really varies on who is inputting the recipes, because there's some people who probably do know how to cook and they have some kind of a culturally significant family recipe that would be awesome to find. But I will link this all in the show notes so people can check it out, because you can just go on a journey in there. And
this sounds interesting, because in my brain, any, like, very or somewhat famous dish has probably got a Wikipedia page about it. You know what I mean? Like a cultural significant dish or anything like that.
I have
Or
to be
something-
super honest with you. It never even occurred to me in the slightest that there would be a Wikipedia page dedicated to every famous culturally relevant dish.
I mean, if you were to search that named dish, I'm sure there'll be a Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I believe
Wikipedia
it now
page
that you
for it.
say it.
Yeah, I
but
guarantee there's a
it was
page
just
on
not
Beanie Weenies.
a neuron that ever fired.
Search Beanie Weenies right now.
No,
I'm kidding.
I wouldn't
No.
want that in my search history. I'm just saying.
it's already in mine. I have it bookmarked. No, but like I'm showing the guys right now, and like you can see different.
Number one,
cooking
Beanie
techniques.
Weenies.
Yeah, Beanie Weenies is
I'm
the
kidding,
most
it's
prominent
not.
item on this page. But you can look up by cooking techniques. You can look up by basic food groups, by the equipment you have, by special diets, by
What?
different regions, or by different like categories of food, and also by expense. So you can look for cheap dishes. You can look for expensive dishes.
If it doesn't use a half pound of truffles, I don't want to see
Yeah,
it.
it's useless. I never eat anything without truffle on it.
Not one bit,
It's
yeah.
pointless. But yeah, it's just a really cool thing, and I'll link it so everybody can check it out. And actually, I'll throw this in the chat right now.
Just Control C, Control V.
Because
yeah.
you guys are gonna get to check this out early, because just go on a journey. That's what I did earlier, and I found something that was like some kind of crumbly cheesecake thing from Denver. I guess it's called like a Denver crumble. I don't know.
We get to talk about cheesecake a little bit later on.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick check through of the chat. I see that
Owner of Ona saying phone off the table.
And Dan Strong dropped by, so that's kind of interesting. Good to see that Dan Strong stopped by. Douglas was a Chief Warrant Officer 3. That is pretty impressive. That's different.
Wow.
That means he was dedicated to whatever his role was and wanted to stick with it after we rotated out. What is this? I can't read it. Phil Snyder 87. Hey,
Who
boys.
is that? Who are you, Phil Snyder?
Sounds like a familiar person. Good to see you.
I don't know who that guy is.
Sure we don't.
Get him out of here.
Phil's the best.
You guys got to show Phil what happened with what Phil did.
Look at what your artwork has become.
So we actually do know Phil, and he's the one that made this artwork. He is a tattoo artist in the Lakeland area, even though he's usually Tampa Phil.
Oh, phone's off the table. My
yeah,
bad.
he's talking about yours.
Yeah, I wonder if it's popping, hissing, and buzzing.
I don't know.
Did you not hear it? Can you not hear it?
They're hearing this.
Oh, and you're
I'm
not hearing
this.
Oh no, my bad. Oh boy.
It may not be that.
It's all good. We're sorry. We're working on it. No, but thanks for everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's been fun. It's been great. All right,
back on track.
we're back on track in some way, maybe.
All right, so now it's
I think that's kind of
To
the
me,
cool thing
right?
about live
'Cause you-
streaming is we're interacting with the chat and we're hanging out with y'all, and then when
Oh,
it
yeah,
goes
it
to
is
a
fun.
live final cut, you just cut out entire swaths of this.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I write it all down. It makes it a little bit more difficult for me for editing, but we can write it all down. It's easy.
This looks like something off of Lost, 14, 22, 42, 17. Like,
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you have to listen to the whole thing, and it's a real pain.
yeah.
And what's funny is we edit backwards. So like you start with 40, go to 36. Because if you start at the beginning, then all of these numbers shift.
Right. No, that totally.
So it's
that
interesting.
Totally makes sense.
So this week I discovered that. Okay, here's the headline to the article that I found. Chemical recycling method breaks down plastics into their original building blocks, potentially allowing them to be recycled repeatedly without losing quality.
I totally saw that.
You saw this as well?
I did.
So apparently, and I will admit, this is like a scholarly article, and so there's a bunch of research papers that go with it. So I'm actually kind of curious about the method that this is done in. But what it does essentially is it breaks down plastic to its molecular level. And then they can reuse the plastic to the same level that it is before. Because the problem with current plastic recycling is that you end up with a lower quality plastic. So like you start with a water bottle and you end up with like, I don't know, a traffic cone or something silly, like something that's not even, it's almost not even plastic anymore. It's just like the byproduct of plastic. And so you're losing essentially efficacy as you go down of recycling. And there's actually people that are very environmentally sensitive that are like, recycling's almost a negative impact on the environment. I've heard people say that.
In certain situations, yes. But
And in that
not
situation,
always.
in a lot of ways, it is because it's like, you're spending more energy to make a new product out of the plastic than to make a new product. It depends on the perspective you're coming from. Anyway, but there's scientists from the University of Bath and Birmingham that have developed a new way of chemical recycling, converting plastics back to their constituent chemical molecules, so that they can be used to make new plastics of the same quality as the original. It uses like a lower temperature, apparently, and that's the thing that I want to know more about is like the method of recycling. But it uses a lower temperature and more environmentally friendly catalyst than previous methods. Because before it was just like pulverized and melted, and they would make something else out of it. But it's always a lower quality. So every time you recycle something, you're getting something lower quality that they're making out of it.
Right. So if you had a complex molecule of plastic that would be heat resistant, or it could withstand, any number of like high PSI environments, something like that, and then you run it through traditional recycling methods, you would end up breaking those molecules down, and then you have something that doesn't have the tensile strength, doesn't have the pressure resistance, and then eventually you get to a traffic cone, which is just the bottom tier, I guess, the way they put it in the article. But if you do that, you have less waste, you have less reduction of quality, and you can sit there and continue.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like eventually there's a diminishing return where if you were to continue to recycle every single thing that's been recycled, there's not a point in recycling it anymore.
No, just put it on a turtle and call it a day.
Yeah, just have a turtle snort it and you're good to go.
But no, I mean, in general, I love the premise of trying to be more effective at recycling plastic, though, because we've seen all the stuff with like the plastic island and just the pure amount of plastic trash that ends up just polluting.
Yeah.
So trying to find new ways to be more effective at that seems like a win.
So, Professor Matthew Jones, he has a few quotes. Our method of chemical recycling overcomes the problem of breaking down plastic polymers into their chemical building blocks, so they can be used all over again to make virgin plastic without losing any properties. So it's literally making plastic over again to the same level, so that you can, and this is the ideal of recycling in the first place, is to be able to take something and make that exact same something out of it once it's been recycled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that it might just literally be technology catching up, because I think that they say that most of the aluminum that we use has been recycled once, because it's very, very effective at they can recycle aluminum and make more soda cans or whatever out of it.
Aluminum is almost as hard to get as gold, I guess, from as far as mining goes, but it's just so plentiful that you can get it for a relatively low price. People used to make aluminum jewelry. This is totally out of the blue. But when they first discovered aluminum, they made aluminum jewelry, and it was as rare as platinum for a while.
Let's call this a micro-discovery.
Micro-discovery.
Yeah, just a little baby discovery.
Yeah, no big deal.
It's a baby. Awesome. It's a baby discovery.
But yeah, it's amazing.
So far, because this was like, a research study done through university, it's been done on a very small scale. However, they've gotten enough traction that there's a lot of collaborators with the university that are now working to scale up the system to be able to do this on a large scale. So it's exciting.
If we can just acquire 10,000 sons worth of gold-plated unobtainium, we can recycle at least 5 tons of plastic in the next decade. No problem.
Yeah. Just that easy. You heard it here.
Let's just go get it.
The future is today.
I love how, with battery technology or anything, it's like, oh yeah, this phenomenal life-changing discovery is right around the corner. We just have to figure out how to make it happen at scale. We have to
discover it, and then we're
without spending $20 million to make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
It's one of those things. Well, the final discovery for the week is our band of the week, and this time it's actually a singer-songwriter. His name is Bruce Sedano, and I talked to him on the Creators Cove if anybody would like to hear more about his story, and his story includes he started in the late 60s. He wrote songs that were sung by Dolly Parton and Reba McEntire and Michael and Jermaine Jackson. He was married to Donna Summer and wrote most of her music throughout her career. He is the father of Johnny Swim's lead singer, and
you didn't tell me that part.
Yeah, his so him and Donna Summer's daughter is in Johnny Swim, and her husband, and he has. We talked a lot about watching music change and following your passion and songwriting and things like that. So if you want to check any of that out, there is a Creators Cove episode available for that, and the song is called "With Him." But before all that, thank you so much for listening. Call us on the Disco hotline. If you have a discovery, we'll put it in the show notes. It'll be on our social medias and things like that. Get in touch with us however you can. At the PDS Official, our Facebook group, the Podcast Discovery Club. You can get in touch with Richie by looking at.
Brands and Empires. That's a YouTube channel, just in case you guys didn't know.
You guys can leave him a comment on any video. He loves it.
And also, we will be giving away 2 T-shirts for I guess, let's see. Let's figure this out real quick. Let me write it.
Anybody in the continental United States willing to pay $35 for shipping and handling.
We'll give you a T-shirt.
But wait, there's more. We'll double your offer.
We will also mail it
We'll also mail it.
to you.
Okay, let's maybe not do that.
No, you can do that. Just say
We need
something
to-
like over
Do
the
it
next
now.
over the
We
next
promise.
month.
Reviews.
Over the next month, if you leave a review, we
What
will
I want-
randomize it. And
We
pick
didn't talk
someone.
about this enough beforehand about how long we need to leave the window open. That's what I wanted to know.
Oh,
Well, nobody's going to even hear this episode for
yeah.
2 weeks,
We should
3
do a
weeks.
month.
Okay.
Okay, take 2.
So if you leave a review and a rating on iTunes or Spotify, can
They
you do
don't.
it? Nope,
They
you
don't
can't
have
do
that
that.
on
Don't think
Spotify.
there's any of
Dang
that.
it.
Start
You
over.
did this.
Mic check
No,
1, 2.
It's you. You've almost got it.
Dang it. I'm in my own head now. You got it, Zach.
So, for the next month, if you leave us a rating or review on either iTunes or Podchaser, we are going to add everybody who leaves one of those reviews, and we're going to find some way to randomize it, and we're going to send out 2 of these T-shirts. Not the hoodies, but this design that our buddy, the amazing artist, drew up for us, and our other buddy right here made shirts. We're going to send them to people for just telling us what you think about the show.
Do you have one of those shirts on underneath this?
I
hoodie?
do. It's going to be Inception.
Boom.
Here we go.
Look
You
at
wanna
that.
see? You're going to get one of these bad boys.
Underneath something I print
Right
is
there.
something else I
Hey,
print.
and
Boom.
by the way,
Boom.
we made sure we
Boom.
got comfy shirts. Like,
Yeah,
we
no.
talked to Richie about this. Like, hey, man, I want a shirt that feels good on my body. And so we got some good
So
shirts.
I got him a factory second flax shirt
No.
out of the
No.
Salvation Army dollar bin.
It's made of a potato sack. It's very comfortable.
It's very comfortable.
No, we did really
Bella
want to have
canvas.
something. We wanted to have something that we had shirts from the podcast convention, and those are the ones we always went back to. So we tried to do the same thing here.
They are on Stitcher, I think. I think they're on everything, every type of syndication,
Really?
right?
Yeah, we're on basically everything you can possibly listen to podcasts on.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll check basically everything we can for the next month and just add everybody to a list and randomize it. But anyways, thanks for listening. We will talk to you next time, and enjoy With Him by Bruce Sedano.
Hey, Danny, good you can make it. Okay, so we are not going anywhere. We're getting ready to film the next thing, just in case you're in the live stream.
Yes, guys, stick around. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. We'll put on some.
It'll be like 10 minutes
Yeah,
max.
like
like 5 minutes
We're
probably.
ready to go. We're just gonna take a quick break. I'll put on some jams for you while we do it, and we'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Okay, kill this.
Each other, I drive away, leave it behind us without a trace. Live for the day, dance in the moonlight. No one could say we didn't do it right. So far away, baby, I forgot to breathe. This town's got a hold on me. My mind is a casualty. Find me. Well, I woke up on the lobby floor. Yeah, last night was some kind of war. I'm coming down like a waterfall. I check my phone, but you never call. Lost in the ceiling, caught up in the ceiling. I can't seem to let it go. Locked in this cage, I've been stuck here for days, and I can't seem to let you go. You pull me up and I put you down. You gave me love, then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Come let me make up for all these pain. I've been a mess, tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. Can we be free? You pull me up, yeah. Can we be free? And I put you down. Well, I woke up and saw everything but you next to me. I know that I've been the enemy, but I've had my moment of gravity. Lost in the ceiling, caught up in the ceiling. I can't seem to let it go. Locked in this cage, I've been stuck here for days, and I can't seem to let you go. You pull me up and I put you down. You gave me love, then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Come let me make up for all these pain. I've been a mess, tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. Can we be free? You pull me up, yeah. Can we be free? And I put you down. You pull me up and I put you down. You gave me love, then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Don't let me make up for all these pain. I've been a mess, tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. You pull me up and I put you down. You gave me love, then I stole your crown. You let me in, then I pushed you out. Don't let me make up for all these pain. I've been a mess, tied by all these chains. Open my eyes, now I finally see. Shut the key, yeah. Can we be free? You pull me up, yeah. Can we be free? And I put you down.
Say I'm a mystery, why don't you solve me? Take a listen to the ground while I'm crawling. Pen and paper to write down your clues. Safe. In my head I can have all my reasons, but it comes out like I'm always leaving. Close the case, now you have all your proof. It's all I can do. It's all I can do. It's all I can do. But you keep on trying, 'cause maybe I'm crazy as you. But you keep on trying, 'cause maybe I'm crazy as you. If only my breath could talk for me, I wouldn't be holding back all these thoughts about what we should do. You're not the worst that has fought me. Got my heart just relentlessly dropping. My body don't say it's not true. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. It's nothing new. You keep on trying, 'cause maybe I'm crazy.